Hey guys, and welcome back to What If Soul. I'm your host, Broken Soul, and it's time for a new episode of What If Ash Could Start Over. But before we get started, guys, as always, please hit the like button and subscribe. It really means a lot to me, guys. Thanks.
And as always, guys, the recap. When we last left off, Ash and Brock had finally made their way to Cerulean City. They found out that Misty's older sisters had stolen the gem from her. So, with a little bit of some mischievous fun, Ash actually has a plan on how to show Misty's older sisters that she is a valid gym leader and that the gym should stay as a gym, not a ballet. Later that next day, Ash, Misty, and Brock literally steal the show from Misty's older sisters, actually taking over the ballet and actually making it into an official 6-on-6 Pokemon battle between Ash and Misty. And thanks to Misty's psychic friend Psyduck, Misty's older sisters have no choice but to watch it all happen. We can now move on to the 6-on-6 battle. The next day at the Cerulean City gym, Ash and Misty are staring at each other. Ash with his Scraggy, Misty with her Sea King. Both trainers are ready to give it everything they've got. This is the first time Ash and Misty have ever had an actual battle with actual stakes. Brock making the call. Battle begin. Without hesitation, Misty makes the first move. Now, Sea King, use Water Pulse. An orb of pure concentrated water shoots from Sea King, heading straight for Scraggy. Ash, not wanting to give Misty the first hit, tells Scraggy to dodge. Scraggy dodges, but that's when Misty calls for a second Water Pulse. The second Water Pulse hits directly on target, knocking Scraggy back a few feet. That did some pretty serious damage, but Scraggy's not out yet. Ash actually thinking to himself, okay, so we're dealing with Misty and her Sea King on a water battlefield. Scraggy doesn't have a lot of options, so we need to be careful. Scraggy, now, get in close and use Crunch. Scraggy, lunging forward with everything it's got, tries to get in close, but Misty calls for Sea King to dive underwater. Diving underwater, Sea King dodges the attack, leaving Scraggy just to trip over on the floating platform in the battlefield. The crowd is going wild as the announcer gives a play-by-play of the amazing battle happening in front of them. Even Misty's sisters are all in amazement. Lily, Daisy, and Violet are actually surprised. However, it's not how you think. Lily actually goes, man, I can't believe people are actually getting excited over something as dumb as a Pokemon battle. Violet going, yeah, I know. There's no elegance, there's no beauty. And plus, even if Misty did have some kind of elegance in this battle, she's not even that cute, not compared to us at least. This actually gets the attention of some of the surrounding crowd, giving them kind of dirty looks. Lily and Daisy are actually getting a little bit intimidated. However, Daisy is not paying attention to anybody. She's just focused on the battle, watching Misty. Now, Sea King, use Mega Horn. Coming out of the water, the Sea King jumps out with its horn glowing, getting ready to hit Scraggy right where it hurts. That's when Ash calls out, oh no you don't. Now, Scraggy, high jump kick. Scraggy then pulling back its leg, glowing with fighting energy, launches forward over at Sea King, hitting his target, knocking Sea King into the water, making a pretty big splash. Sea King felt that one. Misty calling out, Sea King, are you okay? But Sea King just comes back up, ready for more. Misty then saying, okay, now, use Ice Beam. Sea King launching out a beam of pure ice, hoping to freeze out Scraggy, hits Scraggy. Ash saying, Scraggy, no! Scraggy hits the floating platform, but gets back up, just barely standing up, shaking a little bit. Ash going, okay, we have to hit Sea King, we gotta get him hard. Let's try out that new move. Now, Scraggy, Iron Head. Scraggy lunging forward, hoping to do one final move for his trainer, hits Sea King right on the head with its Iron Head, knocking Sea King back and hitting it back hard. Sea King goes into the water, but it's not coming back up. Ash thinking to himself, did we win? Looking at Brock for confirmation, but Brock doesn't move, just stares into the water. Nothing's happening, even the crowd's getting confused. The announcer is trying his best to keep the crowd entertained, but even he really wants to know what's going on. That's when Misty just smiles and says, now, Sea King, Mega Horn, one more time! Sea King then rises out of the water. Ash is Scraggy in absolute surprise, saying, what? But before Ash can make a command, Sea King connects directly on target, knocking Scraggy back, hitting the wall of the stadium behind Ash. Scraggy is unable to battle. Sea King wins. The crowd is chanting Misty's name as Misty congratulates her Sea King. Ash, returning his Scraggy, thanks his little unit of a fighter, saying, thank you Scraggy, I really appreciate this. It won't be in vain. Ash then calling out to Misty saying, hey Misty, you've gotten really strong. I would expect nothing less from the Cerulean City gym leader. Misty then smiling saying, thanks Ash, you're so sweet. I appreciate that. Giving Ash a small little blush actually. Ash bringing out his second Pokemon. Let's go, Gibble! Gibble is out on the battlefield, ready to go. That's when Ash calls, now, Gibble, Dragon Pulse! Gibble launches a small orb of draconic energy straight for Sea King. Before reacting, Sea King is hit with the Dragon Pulse, doing massive damage. Sea King is almost out of this battle. One more hit and it goes down. Or so you'd think. Sea King, now, use Aqua Ring! Sea King then heals itself from its damage, is ready to keep going. It's just bought itself more time in this battle. Ash getting frustrated, thinking, Misty's really keeping me on my toes with this battle. Okay then. Gibble, get in close. Use bite. Gibble jumping from platform to platform, trying to get in as close as it can, but Misty tells Seeking to go into the water. That's when Ash says, Gibble, stop. Gibble stopping, trusting his trainer completely. Ash saying, Gibble, you have to trust me. Wait for my signal, then I want you to bite Seeking. Gibble, just nodding, closes its eyes and concentrates. Waiting. The entire stadium is silent. You could hear a pin drop. That's when Misty calls out, now! Seeking then popping up, getting ready to do a mega horn right onto Gibble. But Ash says, now, do it! That's when Gibble bites down on Seeking, holding it right in place. Ash then saying, alright Gibble, now for our signature. Draco Meteor! Gibble, then looking up at the stadium ceiling, launches Seeking in a massive Draco Meteor. Dragon meteors just come down all over the battlefield, hitting the water, actually producing a whole lot of steam. By the time the steam clears out, Seeking, floating in the water, knocked out. Seeking is unable to battle. Gibble takes this one. The crowd is chanting. They're going wild. The announcer is giving a play-by-play saying, that was incredible, ladies and gentlemen. Seeking has just gone down after taking down Ash the champion Scraggy. But Gibble came back and he avenged his fallen comrade. Can you believe this, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, the announcer's getting really into it. Honest to Arceus, I would too. That's when Misty returns her Seeking, thanking it for the battle. Misty then looking at Ash, tells him, Ash, you're doing amazing. I didn't know you had a Gibble, let alone one that could use Draco Meteor. That's when Ash says, yep, I'm full of surprises. Misty then going, so am I, before calling out, let's go, Starmie! The starfish Pokemon takes the field, ready to go and pump and full of energy. Ash looking over at Starmie saying, hey Starmie, you're looking happy today? Misty with a smile on her face saying, how can you tell what it's feeling? It doesn't even have a face. If you know, you know. That's when Ash says, come on, let's just battle already. The two of them giving a small little giggle. They're really getting into it and they're really enjoying themselves. As two really good friends should. That's when Brock calls out, okay you two, battle, begin. Ash then going, alright Gibble, let's not give him an inch. Now, use Dragon Pulse. Gibble launching a Dragon Pulse straight for Starmie, but Starmie isn't moving an inch. That's when Misty calls out, protect. A protective shield surrounds Starmie as the Dragon Pulse just bounces right off, hitting the water. Misty then saying, now, Starmie, into the water. Starmie then hopping into the water, Misty saying, now use Rapid Spin. Coming out of the water faster than Ash or Gibble could react, Starmie hits Gibble right on target, knocking it back, actually knocking into the water. The longer it stays in, the more damage it does. Ash actually screaming out, Gibble, get out of there! Gibble trying his best to get out of the water, actually makes its way over to the platform, panting heavily, but still ready for a fight. Ash going, alright Gibble, we gotta be careful here. Gibble looking at it to his trainer, nods his head in agreement. Misty then calling, now use Psybeam. Coming out of the water behind Gibble, Starmie launches out a Psybeam right at Gibble's face, but Ash calls out, now use Dragon Pulse. Gibble launching a Dragon Pulse into the Psybeam, actually slowing it down but not stopping it. The Psybeam hits its target, knocking Gibble down. Gibble has maybe one more move left in him and then he's done. That's when Ash calls out, alright then fine. Now, Gibble, Draco Meteor, one more time. Gibble looking up at the sky, launches a Draco Meteor, but Misty just tells Starmie, Starmie, into the water, now, use Protect. Starmie jumping into the water, protecting itself, hoping that none of the Draco Meteors hit, but Ash was hoping for that. All the Draco Meteors hit the battlefield, producing more and more steam, until the water of the pool is so shallow it's not even a pool, it's just a puddle. That's when Ash calls out, now Gibble, quick, get in and use Bite. That's when Misty says, oh no you don't. Now Starmie, blow it away with a Hydro Pump. Starmie launching out an intense torrent of water straight at Gibble, hits directly on target, knocking Gibble down, knocking it out. That's when Brock calls out, Gibble is unable to battle. The winner of this match is Starmie. The crowd is cheering in absolute amazement of the battle they're seeing right in front of them. Two high-level trainers going all out with everything they've got. Well, most of the crowd. Lily and Violet are still giving their own back sass and actually getting into small arguments with some of the crowd members who are defending Misty, saying that she's twice the sensational sister that any of them are. Lily and Violet are starting to feel bad about it, but Daisy just remains quiet, just staring at the battle, not saying a word. Meanwhile, back at the battlefield, Ash returns Gibble, thanking it for the hard-fought battle. Okay, Glalie, it's your turn now. Ash's Ice-type Pokemon takes the field, looking very excited to battle Misty. Misty saying, wow, a Glalie, huh? Never battled one of those before. Okay then, me and Starmie are ready for anything. Ash smiling saying, so are we. Now, battle, begin. Now, Starmie, use Hydro Pump, hit Glalie directly. Another torrent of water leaves Starmie heading straight for Glalie, but Glalie just dodges out of the way. Now Glalie, use Blizzard. Freeze the entirety of the water surrounding you. That's what catches Misty off guard, as Glalie launches a blizzard right from its mouth, freezing the entirety of the battlefield. Now it just looks like one giant ice skating rink. Okay, Glalie, now, get in close, use headbutt. Getting in as close as it can, headbutt Starmie right in its jewel, knocking it back. That did some pretty massive damage. Starmie getting back up, almost not even feeling it. Misty going, Starmie, are you okay? Starmie just affirms that it's perfectly fine. Misty then tells it that's a relief. Now, use rapid spin. Spinning as quickly as it can, Starmie launches forward straight at Glalie, hitting it right on target. Glalie gets knocked back, actually sliding further back because of the ice, hitting the wall of the pool, adding damage to itself. Ash then going, Glalie, no, are you okay? Glalie just gets back up, it's ready for more. That's when Ash says, now, Glalie, try and get in as close as quick as you can. Hurry! Glalie, without hesitation, moves in as close as it can, right in front of Starmie. That's when Ash calls out, now use Crunch! Glalie bites down hard on Starmie, doing massive damage, almost knocking it out completely. But it's still ready to keep going. That's when Misty calls out, now, while it's at close range, Psybeam! Starmie launches out a Psybeam, hitting Glalie while it's in point blank range, knocking it right into the floor, actually making a small little crater in the ice. Glalie felt that one. Ash actually wondered to himself, okay, this Starmie's doing some massive damage. It took out Scraggy, Gibble, and if I'm not careful, it'll take out Glalie. What do I do? Wait a minute, let me try that. Now, Glalie, turn around and use Blizzard on the wall behind you. Misty and the crowd are all confused, wondering, what's this guy doing? But Glalie, trusting his trainer, turns around, blasting out a Blizzard with everything it's got, actually launching itself right at Starmie with absolute tremendous speed. That's when Ash calls out, now, turn around and use Shadow Ball. Misty going, wait, it can learn Shadow Ball? Yes, it can learn Shadow Ball. I've done the research. Side note, yes, it can use Shadow Ball. I've done my research. I've done my studying. Every Pokemon move that they're using can be learned in some way, shape, or form. Okay? Back to the story. Glalie, turning around quickly, forms a Shadow Ball and is about to launch it point blank range. That's when Misty calls out, now, Starmie! Hydro Pump, quickly! Both Starmie and Glalie launch out their respective attacks right at point blank range, hitting each other. The incredibly powerful Hydro Pump hits Glalie, knocking it out, while at the same time, the super effective Shadow Ball hits Starmie, knocking it out. It's a double knockout. Brock calling. Both Glalie and Starmie are unable to battle. The crowd is still going wild. The announcer is calling out, unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen! Glalie just took out Starmie, who took out 2 of Ash's previous Pokemon. But will it be enough to win Ash the match? Let's find out and see. The entire crowd is losing its mind. They can't believe what they're watching. They just want more. It's actually getting to a point where the entire stadium is divided. One section cheering for Misty, the other cheering for Ash. This crowd is absolutely behind this battle 100%. Most of them actually forgetting that they were there for a ballet in the first place. This gets under Lily and Violet's skin pretty badly, but they're kind of busy looking down in shame as they're getting nothing but death glares from a lot of the audience. They really didn't want to hear that their beloved gym trainer was being belittled by her own sisters. But Daisy, again, just stares at the battlefield, fixated mostly on Misty. What could she be thinking? Back to the battle. Brock then calling out, will both trainers please bring out their next Pokemon? Misty bringing out a Love Disc while Ash brings out his faithful Totodile. Misty spiraling over saying, Totodile, it's been a while. Totodile dancing actually waves at Misty. The two of them really missed each other. That's when the announcing voice says, these two trainers are such good friends they even recognize each other's Pokemon. Can you believe the kind of battle we're having? Once in a lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. Once in a lifetime. This guy really loves his job. Brock then calling out, okay, battle begin. Without hesitation, Ash just calls out, now, Totodile, you slash! Totodile, running in quick as Sharp Claws, gets ready to do some damage to Love Disc, but Misty calls out, now, use Agility! Dodge out of the way! Love Disc dodging out of the way. Then Misty calls out, now use Charm! Totodile is too infatuated with love. It can't do anything right now. Ash calling out, no, Totodile! Misty then calls out, now, use Takedown! Love Disc launching forward with its enhanced agility, hits Gibble right on the mark, doing damage to itself, but doing damage to Totodile, knocking it back. Totodile still can't do anything. Ash calling out, now Totodile, use Crunch. Totodile moving in close, actually thinking it's going to give Love Disc a kiss, accidentally gives Love Disc a crunch, doing some pretty powerful damage onto the Love Disc. Misty then calling out, alright then, now Love Disc, use Water Gun. Love Disc launching out a Water Gun, hits Totodile directly. Totodile can't do a thing. Ash then saying, how am I going to deal with this? If only it had ears, I could pull its ears like how Misty does with Brock. Brock at that moment then gets a shiver down his spine. Ugh. But all Ash can do is just call out Totodile's name. Misty, however, keeps calling out for nothing but takedowns. One after the other, takedown after takedown. The Love Disc is just hitting Totodile left, right, and center until finally the one takedown hits its mark, knocking Totodile down, knocking it out. Totodile is unable to battle. The winner is Love Disc. Ash can't believe it. His Totodile was completely infatuated with love and he couldn't do nothing about it. So he recalls his Johto starter saying, "Thank you, Totodile. I'm so sorry. I promise we'll find a way to get stronger together." Ash, in looking at the Love Disc, actually notices something. Love Disc is panting heavily. It looks like all those takedowns were doing some pretty serious damage to it. Misty can sense that too, as she thinks to herself, "Oh, Ash's Totodile is way too resilient. It took almost everything we had to knock it out. 1 or 2 more hits and Love Disc is down. I hope I can win this battle before it's too late." That's when Ash calls out his next Pokemon. Alright then, let's go Bayleaf! Ash's Grass Johto starter hits the battlefield, looking pumped and ready to go. It wants to make up for the loss against Krogunk and prove to his trainer that it's an amazing battler. That's when Brock goes, "Battle begin." Ash calling out to Bayleaf. "Now, Bayleaf, Vine Whip." Bayleaf launching out a Vine Whip hits Love Disc with some massive damage, but it's still ready to go as Misty calls out for a Water Gun, hitting Bayleaf squarely on the head, dazing it for a second, but not taking it out. Misty then calls for another Agility, hoping that it can dodge as much as it can, tiring out Bayleaf. That's when Ash calls out, "Now, Bayleaf, Razor Leaf." Bayleaf launching Razor Leaf after Razor Leaf just tries its best to hit Love Disc, but Love Disc is not making it easy for Bayleaf, just dodging with that increased speed thanks to Agility. Bayleaf actually getting a bit frustrated. That's when Ash goes out, "Okay then. Bayleaf, now, launch out your Vine Whips. Try and hit anywhere and everywhere you can." That's when Bayleaf launches out its Vine Whips and basically just goes crazy, swinging them every single which way it can. Eventually, the one Vine Whip actually lands on target, hitting Love Disc, knocking it down, knocking it out. Love Disc is unable to battle. The winner of this battle is Bayleaf. Ash is cheering on Bayleaf. Even the crowd supporting Ash's side is screaming out, "Bayleaf, Bayleaf." They're all cheering on Bayleaf, as she did an amazing job. Bayleaf actually cheering a little bit herself. She deserves it. That's when Misty calls out, "Alright then, Ash. Now you're going to see one of my stronger Pokemon. Let's go, Kingdra!" That's right. Her little horsey is now fully evolved into a mighty Kingdra. Staring at Bayleaf, getting ready for a battle. Brock then calling out, "Battle begin. Now, Bayleaf, use Razor Leaf." Bayleaf launches Razor Leaf after Razor Leaf, trying to hit Kingdra as quick as it can. But Misty just calls out, "Now, Kingdra, use Hydro Pump." A torrent of water rushes forward, knocking away all the Razor Leaves. Ash and Bayleaf are both completely stunned. That's when Misty calls out, "Now, Kingdra, Dragon Pulse." Kingdra launches its own blue orb of draconic energy straight at Bayleaf, hitting it directly on target, knocking it back, doing some serious damage. Bayleaf's in some serious pain, but is getting back up, getting ready for a fight. It's not going to let Ash down. Ash then goes, "Now, Bayleaf, hold it down. Use Vine Whip." Bayleaf launching out vines, holds down Kingdra. Ash then calls out, "Now, Solar Beam." Misty going, "When did Bayleaf learn Solar Beam?" Bayleaf is charging up the Solar Beam, but before she can fully launch it, Misty calls out, "Now, Kingdra, Smoke Screen, blind Bayleaf." Kingdra launching out a smoke screen surrounding the entirety of the battlefield, almost completely blinding not only the Pokemon, but the trainers and the audience. Ash then calling out, "Now, Bayleaf, fire it!" Bayleaf launches out the Solar Beam, hoping against hope that she could actually hit it. But when the smoke clears, she sees that she only barely just grazed it. Apparently, Kingdra was struggling a lot more than she thought, but it still did some damage. Kingdra ain't looking the best right now. Misty then calling out, "Now, Kingdra, Rain Dance!" Storm clouds then begin to start appearing above the battlefield, as rain begins to fall, covering the entirety of the battlefield, actually starting to fill up the pool again. Ash thinking to himself, "Oh no, if the pool fills up again, Bayleaf's going to be at a complete disadvantage. I gotta do something." Ash then calling out, "Now, Bayleaf, get in close, use Body Slam." Bayleaf running at top speed, knocks into Kingdra, knocking it back, hitting the wall of the pool behind it. Misty calling out to Kingdra, "Kingdra, are you okay?" But Kingdra just nods over at Misty, affirming, "It's gonna take more than that to take down this water horse." Misty then smiling, saying, "Alright then. Now, Kingdra, Dragon Pulse one more time." Kingdra launching out a Dragon Pulse right at Bayleaf, hitting right on point, doing some serious damage. Bayleaf hits the ground hard. But Ash just calls out to Bayleaf, saying, "Bayleaf, get up! Come on, I know you can do this! I believe in you!" Bayleaf slowly getting up. The entire stadium is cheering, not just the supporters of Ash, but every single person in that stadium is cheering for Bayleaf, telling it to get up, keep going, don't stop, we believe in you. Bayleaf then roars out to the heavens, declaring that she will win. That's when it happens, folks. That's when Bayleaf begins to glow and a bright light envelops the entirety of the stadium. By the time the glowing stops, Ash has a brand new, fully evolved Meganium. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Bayleaf evolved! Ash then just stands there in complete amazement, jaw hanging low. Meganium! You evolved! Meganium just turns around at Ash, looking at him with determined eyes, saying, no matter what, I will win this match for you. That's when Ash just smiles, saying, alright then Meganium, now use Razor Leaf. However, it's not a Razor Leaf that happens. Instead, it's a new move. That's right, Meganium actually learned Petal Blizzard. An entire blizzard of petals launches forward directly at Kingdra. Kingdra, having nowhere to go and no way to dodge, is hit directly by the Petal Blizzard, knocking it out. The announcer is screaming out at the top of his lungs, ladies and gentlemen, Ash's Bayleaf had just evolved and has just learned Petal Blizzard. I don't believe this! Brock then declaring that Kingdra is unable to battle and Meganium is the winner. Ash is just cheering his head off, and so is the entirety of the crowd. Everyone's going nuts. A good chunk of the stadium is actually starting to give Meganium a standing ovation, cheering on its hard work and thanking it for a battle. That's when Misty recalls Kingdra, saying, thank you so much, old friend. Misty, looking over at Ash and Meganium cheering, she wonders to herself, man, to think that's the same little boy who got so excited over catching a little Caterpie. He really has grown up. Now, adopting a serious look on her face, Misty then looks at her final Pokeball, saying, Ash, it's not over yet. You still have one more Pokemon to deal with. Ash then going, oh yeah, that's right. So who's next? Misty then calling out, let's go, Corsola! Misty's Coralfish Pokemon takes the battlefield. Brock then calling out, battle begin. Ash is not wanting to hesitate for a second, calling out for a body slam. Meganium runs forward, launching right into Corsola, hitting it right on point, launching it backwards, doing massive damage. Misty going, Corsola, no! Quick, recover! Corsola recovers quickly, gaining back almost all of its health right away. There's that annoying recovery. Okay, Meganium, we gotta deal with this. Now, Vine Whip! This time, a whole tendril of vines all launch forward, hitting one after the other, knocking it backward, forward, up, down, left to right. Basically just playing tennis with Corsola, all to herself. Misty then calling out to Corsola, Corsola, recover as best you can! Corsola tries to recover, but it just can't. That's when Misty calls out, alright, fine. Now, Ancient Power! Rocks then form around Corsola as it launches them forward right at Meganium, hitting her right on the face, stunning her, causing her to drop the Vine Whips. Corsola then lands on the battlefield, getting its footing back. Misty, not wanting to take a second, calls out, now, Bubble Beam! A stream of bubbles launches from Corsola's mouth, hitting Meganium on the side, knocking it back. Apparently, Meganium isn't used to its new form yet, so it's still struggling a bit. Ash then calling out, now, Meganium, use Petal Blizzard! Meganium, regaining its footing, launches out another Petal Blizzard. An entire forest's worth of petals launch right for Corsola. Misty calling out for a recover, hoping that Corsola recovers enough health to where it can take the damage. Corsola does the recover, but then is hit directly by the Petal Blizzard. Corsola is knocked back and knocked down. It slowly gets up. Apparently it only had enough energy to stand back up. Misty thinking to herself, one final move. That's all we can do. Misty then calls out, now, one more time, Ancient Power! More rocks form around Corsola as it launches them right for Meganium, hitting Meganium right on her side, doing some massive damage, having Meganium skid back. Ash calling out to Meganium, Meganium, are you okay? Meganium affirming that she's perfectly fine, when really, she can't handle much more of this. A few more attacks and she's done for. That's when Ash calls out, alright, we have to finish this. Now, Meganium, Solar Beam! Meganium is getting ready for another Solar Beam, charging it up, getting ready to fire. Misty calling out one more time. Now, Corsola, Bubble Beam! Hit it before it can finish the attack. Corsola getting ready to launch the Bubble Beam. It actually staggers for a second. Misty going, oh no! That's when Ash calls out to Meganium. Now fire! Meganium firing the Solar Beam right at Corsola, hitting it right on target, knocking it down, knocking it out. Corsola is unable to battle. The winner of this match is Meganium. Meganium roars out in victory. She knows that she's more than made up for that loss against Krogunk. She is insanely happy for herself and for her trainer for getting them this far. Ash is just praising and cheering off Meganium while the crowd is screaming, going wild in the background. The announcer is going crazy at this point, just praising Ash and Meganium for their teamwork and this amazing battle. Misty then recalls her Corsola, thanking it for the battle. It fought insanely hard. That's when Misty calls out to Ash. Alright Ash, you have 2 Pokemon left. I only have 1. That's when Ash calls out, no, I have only 1 left. Meganium and the entirety of the crowd all look in surprise, but Brock actually looking over at Ash with a smile and a very strong sense of pride. Ash then declaring to the audience, Meganium has taken too much damage. It's gone through too much right now and I don't want it to suffer any more damage. We forfeit this match. Meganium, you're done. Ash is looking over Meganium, expecting for some retaliation, but with the evolution comes wisdom. Meganium just turns around at Ash, bowing her head as she's saying, alright, I accept. Ash is actually a little surprised. Normally if it were Bayleaf or even Chikorita, it would have refused, saying, I can keep going. But he figures, yep, Meganium, you really have matured. Before recalling his Pokemon, the entire stadium stands up and gives Meganium a standing ovation, cheering it and praising it for the hard-fought battle that it's given. Meganium looks around, smiling at the crowd, thanking them for the praise. That's when Ash recalls his grass starter. That's when Brock declares, very well. By forfeit, Meganium is no longer able to battle. Please, will you both bring out your final Pokemon? Misty then looks over at Ash, saying, alright Pikachu, let's go. But Pikachu isn't saying a thing. Actually, Pikachu is just smiling. Actually getting off of Ash's shoulder and walking over to the side of the stadium. What Misty sees that Ash's backpack and a mysterious egg are just sitting right there. Pikachu actually sitting right next to the egg, smiling at Misty, waving. Misty looks very confused, saying, wait, you're not going to use Pikachu? Ash just smiles and says, nope, not for this battle. The entire crowd is actually questioning this. Why would you not use an electric type Pokemon for a water type gym? It makes no sense. But Ash is just smiling. Flashback. Right after Ash, Misty, and Brock had all planned out how they were going to steal the show from Misty's older sisters, Ash had made his way over to the phones and made a call to Professor Oak, requesting for some of his Pokemon. When Ash finally got to his 6th Pokemon, Professor Oak asked, well, who's your 6th going to be? Actually, Professor, I want to ask you for a favor. Is Tracy there? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the announcer for this 6-on-6 Pokemon battle between Ash and Misty was Tracy the whole time. But you guys are probably wondering, how did Tracy get here to Cerulean City within less than a day? Well, Ash's 6th and final Pokemon. Let's go, Noivern! Ash's Kalos Pokemon takes to the sky, ready for a fight, screaming out a roar of, let's get going! Misty looking up saying, whoa, a Noivern? I've never seen one in person before. That's when Ash goes, yep, caught him when I went to Kalos. He's a real good friend and a really amazing battler. That's when Misty smiles and says, oh, this'll be perfect then. Ash going, what do you mean? That's when Misty calls out, let's go, Gyarados! Misty's sea serpent Pokemon takes to the battlefield, roaring out, it's ready for a fight. Ash actually getting a little bit nervous, saying, I remember how tough Gyarados can be. Alright then. Noivern, you ready? Noivern nods its head in approval. Misty actually calling out to Gyarados. Gyarados, don't underestimate Noivern. It's one powerful Pokemon. It was raised by Ash. That's when Gyarados nods its head. The two Pokemon stare at each other. They know that this is not a battle not only for them, but for their trainers. So they're ready to give it everything they've got. That's when Brock calls out. Alright then. Battle, begin! Ash, making the first move, calls out. Now, Noivern, Air Slash! Flapping its wings, pressurized air moves its way right toward Gyarados at incredible speeds. Misty then calling out, oh no you don't, Ash. Gyarados, get out of the way! Gyarados dodging out of the way. Misty then calling out, now use Hydro Pump! A torrent of water leaves Gyarados' mouth, heading straight for Noivern, hitting it right on target. Noivern fell down, but it's not giving up yet, just shaking off the water. That's when Ash calls out, okay Noivern, let's get in close. Dragon Rush! Noivern, surrounding itself in draconic energy, launches straight for Gyarados, hitting it directly on target, knocking Gyarados back, hitting the ground, actually kicking up a large dust cloud. Misty screaming out, Gyarados, no! Are you okay? Gyarados gets back up, it's perfectly fine, but it did feel that one. It did some pretty bad damage. Misty then calling out, alright then Gyarados, now while it's in close, use Crunch! Gyarados bites down on the back of Noivern, actually shaking it around like a rag doll. Now throw it away! Gyarados throws Noivern down, hitting the ground with a loud and audible thud. A lot of the crowd is gasping and wincing a little bit. Even Ash is wincing at that, asking, Noivern, can you keep going? But Noivern shakily gets back up. It's ready to keep going. That's when Ash calls out, now, Hyper Voice! Noivern then launching out pressurized sound waves, heads right for Gyarados, hitting it, doing even more damage. Gyarados shaking its head back and forth, trying to get the ringing out of its ears, but Misty calling out at the top of her lungs, now, Gyarados! Flamethrower! Gyarados just barely heard that as it launches a flamethrower straight at Noivern. Ash calling for it to dodge. Noivern just barely gets out of the way, but it barely gets grazed off of its side. It dodges out of the way, but it hits the ground when it does. Ash can tell this is going to be a really dangerous battle. Ash then calling, Noivern, I need you to get up. Use Dragon Pulse. Noivern, getting up as quick as it can, launches out a Dragon Pulse right for Gyarados, hitting Gyarados straight in its center. Misty then calling out, Gyarados, no! We have to do it. Gyarados then getting up, nods its head. It's ready for it. Side note, guys, I'm doing the same thing I did with Brock on this one, okay? Again, I really just love how they gave it to Misty. They gave it to Brock, they gave it to Misty, so I'm doing it, okay? Back to the story. Alright then, Gyarados, it's time. May our bond come together and produce something beautiful. Now, Mega Evolve. That's when Misty's Gyarados, with the power of Mega Evolution, becomes Mega Gyarados. Ash, realizing he's in trouble, tells Noivern, Noivern, be ready. We have to end this as quickly as we can. Noivern then echoes his sentiment right at Ash. Misty then calls for Gyarados. Gyarados, Hyper Beam! Ash calling out, Noivern, Dragon Rush, use it to dodge! Gyarados with a mega-powered Hyper Beam launches it straight at Noivern. Noivern, covering himself with Draconic Energy, flies away as quick as it can. It's basically a game of chase at this point. The Hyper Beam is chasing Noivern, catching him slowly until Gyarados' power runs out. Noivern still has some to go. Ash then calling, now Noivern, head straight for Gyarados, hit it with your remaining energy. Noivern making a 90-degree turn, heads straight for Gyarados, hitting it right on target. Gyarados felt that one as it hits the ground and producing another large dust cloud. Misty then calling out for Gyarados. Gyarados, Hydro Pump, quick! Gyarados then launching a Hydro Pump right into the air right at Noivern, hitting Noivern right on point. Noivern gets knocked down, hitting the ground hard. Both Noivern and Gyarados are both shaking up. Misty and Ash both know that the very next attack will be the absolute last. That's when Ash calls out, now, Noivern, Hyper Voice! Misty calling out to Gyarados. Gyarados, quick, use Hydro Pump! Noivern, launching out concentrated sound waves, makes its way over toward Gyarados. Gyarados is about to launch another attack, but it stops. It's in too much pain. Misty going, oh no, as the Hyper Voice makes contact with Gyarados, hitting it one final time. Gyarados hitting the ground, staying down. Brock then calling out, Gyarados is unable to battle. The winner is Noivern. The winner of the match is challenger, Alola champion, Ash Ketchum of Pallet Town. The crowd are on their feet. They can't believe what they're seeing. They're screaming out, Ash, Ash, Ash. Tracy has basically lost his voice at this point, but he still tells the crowd, I don't believe it, ladies and gentlemen. Our local hero boy, Ash Ketchum of Pallet Town, has done the impossible and beaten Misty of the Cerulean City Gym. I don't believe what I'm watching, he says as Misty recalls her Gyarados, thanking it for the battle. Ash is hugging his Noivern with everything he's got, thanking it so much. It put in the work and it did everything it was supposed to. Ash and Misty then make their way over to the referee's box where Brock is standing at. The two trainers shake hands, Misty congratulating Ash on a well-fought battle. Brock then turning it to Ash, presents him with the Cascade badge. Ash accepting it, saying, thank you so much, Brock, and then turning to the crowd, saying, thank you all for coming out. I've just won the Cascade badge, as he holds it up in his iconic victory pose. Later on that day, as the crowd is leaving, Ash, Misty, and Brock are in the main battlefield again, actually talking for a bit, when Pikachu runs up to Ash hurriedly. Ash looks at Pikachu and says, what's going on? When Pikachu just points it over at Ash's egg. The egg is beginning to glow. That's right, guys. The egg is about to hatch. Ash running over uncovers the egg and it reveals, that's right, Ash is Riolu. However, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Riolu actually, while it is still its cool, prideful self, I'm not going to have it just run away. I'm actually going to have it just sit there and just stare at Ash, actually evaluating him, thinking to itself, are you truly worthy of me? Almost questioning him. While Ash and Pikachu are dealing with that actually, Misty's older sisters make their way over to where Misty and Brock are standing at. That's when Brock says, I'm gonna go see how Ash is dealing with his new Pokemon. I need to do an assessment and see if it's happy and healthy. Brock then walks over to Ash, leaving Misty alone with her three older sisters. Misty's actually about to apologize for stealing their show when Daisy holds up her hand saying, hold on. Let me be the first to say, Misty, all three of us are sorry. I'm sorry. Lily and Violet are both behind Daisy, echoing the sentiment. All three of them are bowing their heads, apologizing to Misty. We're all sorry. Lily saying, I'm so sorry, little sis. You really are an amazing Pokemon trainer. Violet then going, we shouldn't have called Pokemon battles stupid. Based off today's reaction, it's even more exciting than ballets will ever be. Finally, Daisy steps in and says, and finally, Misty, we're all sorry if we made you feel like you weren't a sensational sister. Truth be told, out of all four of us, you're the best. Misty is just standing there in absolute shock. She has no idea what to say. She has no idea what to even think. Before she can even say anything, all three of her sisters bring her in for a big family hug. Misty's actually starting to tear up and actually cries into her sister's arms. She loves all three of them. Ash, Brock, and Pikachu and Riolu are all just staring over at the sisters, smiling. They're all happy for Misty. After that, Daisy actually suggests that everyone stays the night at the Cerulean City Gym and has one giant family dinner. After hearing dinner, Ash and Pikachu right away take up the offer. Everyone just starts laughing after that. The rest of the night is going pretty pleasant actually. All three of the sisters, plus Brock, are making an amazing meal. Misty and Ash are discussing the battle from earlier today, and Pikachu and Riolu are actually playing in the living room. The rest of the night goes on pretty well. They all have an amazing meal, they sit down, they talk about what's going on, and that's when Misty announces to her older sisters, so, here's what's going to happen. I want to go back and travel around with Ash and Brock for a while. which means the Cerulean City gym needs a gym leader, and I have no idea who I can trust it with. That's when Daisy stands up and says, "You can trust it to me at least." That's when Lily stands up, "No, you can trust it to me." Then Violet, "No, you're trusting it to me." That's when Misty just smiles and says, "Alright then, can I trust all three of you to be able to handle the gym by yourselves?" That's when Daisy goes, "We can watch it, but none of our Pokemon are as strong as yours. Do you mind if we use some of them?" Misty actually smiles and says, "No, that's perfectly fine. I was actually planning on leaving a good chunk of my team here anyway to watch the gym while I'm gone." That's when Daisy asks, "So who are you going to leave here and who are you going to take with you?" Misty then goes on to explain, "I'm going to leave everybody here except my Gyarados and my Psyduck." That's when everyone looks at Misty in surprise. "Why your Psyduck?" Misty then just turns over to Ash and Brock and says, "You both know how Psyduck can be. I can't leave it out of my sight for a minute." Ash and Brock just nod in agreement. Yeah, that makes sense. After that, everyone just bursts out laughing. The next day, Ash, Brock, and Misty are all getting ready to leave for Cerulean City. But before they do, Ash makes another call to Professor Oak. Apparently, Meganium really wants to show off her evolution to Bulbasaur. So, Ash transfers everyone over back to Professor Oak's place, except for, of course, his Pikachu, his Riolu, and his Gibble. Ash, Misty, and Brock then leave the Cerulean City Pokemon Center, making their way for Vermilion City and Ash's next Pokemon gym against Lieutenant Surge. But they didn't notice somebody was right behind them. Apparently, there was a certain trainer who was in the crowd of people at the Cerulean City gym, and they actually want to battle against Ash. And that's where we're going to leave it off for now, guys. So, tell me, what you guys think? Ash and Misty finally had their full 6-on-6 Pokemon battle. Ash's Bailey finally evolved to Meganium. His Riolu finally hatched from the egg, and Misty finally got her sisters to see eye to eye with her on what she can do, leaving the gym in their care. And now, the gang is making their way to Vermilion City. But they're being tailed by another trainer. Who is this person? What do they want with Ash? And how will things go in the next episode? Actually, guys, there is one last thing before I finally sign off. I'm kind of curious on exactly who makes to the end of these videos. So if you guys can leave a comment at the end of this video saying what your favorite Pokemon is, it really means a lot to me. So until next time, guys, this is Broken Soul saying, may your souls be ever bright. I love you guys. Bye.